What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking the Central Division and giving you guys my thoughts on where teams are going to lie at the end of the season. Now, I'm going with my gut, like I stated in the last one. I'm recording this video before I even upload that, so I could have got absolutely roasted for my decisions. I don't know. I don't care. It's my decisions anyways. It's just my opinions. So I'm going to be giving you guys my opinions here. I'm going with my gut, like I said. So if anything's kind of off base, what other people are saying, it's just my opinion, okay? It's my opinion, so whatever. Before we hop into it, though, as always, if you guys are new to the channel, let me know if you guys subscribed. Like the video if you guys enjoyed it. It shows a lot of support to me. It means a lot to me. And let's hop into it. So in last place in the Central Division, I have the Arizona Coyotes. I think this is kind of just a no-brainer. I don't really have to talk much about it. They traded away tons of their players, and there's actually some players there I'm surprised are still there. I feel really bad for Jacob Chikrin, who I really like, but he's going to have to tough it out for like 3 or 4 years, maybe even 5 years, before that team's even like a fighting team. If he has the ability to just stick it out, he could see himself as a captain of the Arizona Coyotes for a long time, and Arizona will be good in about 5 years. I just hope he sticks it out. But as far as this upcoming season, I definitely see them finishing well in the bottom of the Central Division. Now this one's kind of another one that's kind of a no-brainer. In 7th, I have the Nashville Predators. Predators are also a team that traded away Ryan Ellis, and Pekka Rinne retired. They just aren't looking very strong. Compared to some of the teams in the Central, I just don't see how they get more wins than them. So I do see them finishing second last in the Central Division. I just don't like their odds pretty much. I do think, though, the Predators, I could be tripping here, but I do think they are like 2 really, really good players away from being a contender team again. Like, they still got Philip Forsberg. People forget how good Forsberg is. Matt Duchene, if he somehow just plays even like three quarters, 75% of what he can do, then that's good for them. That's definitely good help. I think Nashville's kind of in an interesting spot where they put themselves in a spot like Minnesota to me, where they're just kind of that middle team where they don't really have insane crazy prospects, but they also aren't a playoff team. So it's like, what are they trying to do here? It's kind of a tough one for me, but I do see them finishing second last in the Central. 6th in the Central, I do have the Minnesota Wild. Now, I know Minnesota has Kirill Kaprizov, who I hope goes off because I have him in my fantasy league. So I hope he lights it up. But I just don't like Minnesota's team. I see them just not having enough star power. Like, I know Jared Spurgeon's their captain, but I just don't see him as a stellar player. He's not a superstar. He's not an elite player. They have one elite player in my eyes, and that's Kaprizov. Other than that, they kind of just have a bunch of okay second liners. Like, even their first line, it's iffy to me. I just don't see Minnesota as a fighting team for playoffs. Kaprizov could carry them. I could be wrong. Maybe he carries them, but I just see him going off and the team failing to add and match what he's doing. In 5th in the Central Division, I have the Chicago Blackhawks. I do think Chicago is actually going to give a pretty decent run for their money. They do got Marc-Andre Fleury, who I think is a stud. They got Jonathan Toews back, who I think is going to not miss a beat. He's just going to come in. He's a guaranteed point per game player pretty much. People forget how good Jonathan Toews is just because of his $10 million cap hit. And it's like, the guy can still produce. Patty Kane. They still got Kirby Dach, who's got another year under his belt. DeBrincat's getting even better. It's like, I think Chicago actually looks pretty decent. The big question mark for me is their defense and Seth Jones. If Seth Jones can bounce back and play better than he did last year in Columbus, Chicago's not bad, and they might be fighting for a wild card spot for the playoffs with the Calgary Flames. If you guys saw my previous video, you know why I'm saying that. But I think Calgary and Chicago are going to be in that fighting range, as well as this next team that I'm about to say. So in the Central Division, for the next spot, for the 4th position, I have the Dallas Stars. I do like Dallas more than I like Chicago. I do think Dallas has better defensive depth and just better depth in general. I like also some of their star players. I think Robertson was a huge plus for them. They struggled last year, but I do expect them to come in and play better this year. Jason Robertson with a full year under his belt is going to be really, really good. Playing with Tyler Seguin, like, who knows if he plays with them, but how good that could be. They also got Ryan Suter on defense, which I think is no slouch either. I think Suter can still play defense fairly well. He was just another one of those players that was making too much for what he was worth. so people looked at him terribly when if you didn't look at his cap just as a player, he's a solid defenseman. His cap was just weighing him down in my opinion, so that kind of sucks to see, but Dallas got him and they got him for a decent price, so I'm really excited to see how he does there. Their goaltending is the biggest question mark to me. Khudobin's never really been that starter goalie, but when he did well and brought them all the way to the finals in the playoffs, that's kind of when he solidified himself as a starter for Dallas, and he never was a starter before that. He was always a backup goalie, so maybe they were riding the high and decided he's the starter, or maybe he really is a number one goalie all of a sudden and he can do it. But to me, that's a big question mark for me, is their goaltending, and we'll see what happens. In third in the Central Division is the Winnipeg Jets for me. I think Winnipeg's very, very solid. They added Nate Schmidt, who I really liked. He had a very bad year in Vancouver, but I think he can play better than that, and he can play like he did in Vegas. I don't think he's necessarily worth the $6 million he's got, but he's a really solid player for sure. They definitely boosted up. I think they got Brendan Dillon as well on defense. Connor Hellebuyck's a stud, and their forward depth is actually very, very good. So I do think Winnipeg comfortably, I think these top three teams in the Central comfortably get into the playoffs. Like, I think Dallas and Chicago will be quite a few points behind them, that they're not really going to be pressuring them. It's just going to be the top three teams fighting for the top three spots. In second in the Central, I have the St. Louis Blues. Now, I think St. Louis got a huge boost by not trading Tarasenko. If Tarasenko plays the whole year for the St. Louis Blues, they're even better. Like, people have seen this team for 2 seasons pretty much without Tarasenko, and they've been decent, like pretty good. And now they add Tarasenko, like, that's just gross. That makes them so much better. You have Perron broke out last year. Not to say he's not going to be able to do it again. I don't think he will, but he proved what he can do. So if he could do something like that again with Tarasenko, with Buchnevich they got now, who is also just an absolute bona fide sniper stud, I think he's awesome. I can't wait for him to wear this jersey so I can get Buchnevich on the back of this jersey because I'm a big fan. I think he's a stud. And also Robert Thomas has been improving so much. He's a very underrated player for St. Louis, or maybe not for St. Louis fans, but for outside of St. Louis, I think he's underrated. He's also a stud and can have an insane breakout season. Their defense is solid. If Bennington can play well, this team easily, in my opinion, gets second. And then in first, there's no questions asked, it's the Colorado Avalanche. I think it is their position to lose. I think if Colorado didn't finish first, it would kind of be a surprise in a lot of people's eyes. A lot of people, again, like last year, have the Avalanche winning the Stanley Cup. So if they did not finish first in the Central, it would be a surprise to a lot of people, including myself. I just think they're a shoo-in for it. They're one of those teams that just, they're built to win the cup now. Like, and if they don't do it now, who knows when they will. They're kind of one of those teams, like same with Toronto. Like, if they cannot do it with this core, they're gonna have to blow it up. Same with Toronto. They got the core to do it. They can do it. They gotta just do it. They just gotta do it. There's nothing else to say. Colorado's the same thing. They got the team to do it. There's not really much you can add to make them better. They just have to go out there and win the cup. That's all. But thank you guys so much for watching. That is my Central Division rankings for this upcoming season. That's how I think the season's going to end and how the standings are going to look for the Central Division. If you guys did not see my Pacific Division ranking, I'll have the link in the top of the description. Go check that out as well. And then I'll have the other 2 divisions coming up here in the next upcoming days. Thank you guys so much for watching, as always. If you guys are new to the channel, it means a lot if you guys subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.